Hey, Julie Roussel here and empowering you with the Saturday Night Skinny. Actually on a Saturday evening, what can I say? Sometimes the Saturday Night Skinny has to be moved due to life events and uncontrollable and unforeseen happenings. But tonight, we've got the Saturday Skinny going on at the regular time, and hey, I'm here in the regular place in my bathroom because hey, it's the easiest place to be. Less kids, less dogs, let around, quiet place. But hey, tonight I want to share with you, like Saturday Skinny, it's always some helpful tips, some tricks, and some life hacks to help you out. Not only with your skincare, but how to feel beautiful on the inside, as well as some tips to help you get ahead in life. So, as I'm sure many of you know, or even if you don't, this is Skin Cancer Awareness Month. May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and you are going to see posts and videos from me during the month about skin cancer awareness and ways to prevent it. Because hey, it's baseball season, track, lacrosse, we're outdoors for all the fun activities, whether you're on the lake or, whether you're on the tractor. And I wanted to give you a few reminders about your sunscreen and why it's important, and some tricks and some tricks and tips. I think I need to have more wine. Some tips and tricks that are going to help you remember to apply your sunscreen and keep it fast and easy. So first thing would be the reminders as why sunscreen is important. Now, number one, and this is something that not that I've thought of, but something that has been proven over and over again. Number one, it prevents skin cancer and minimizes the sun damage, which would be like those dark patches and dark spots that just start appearing places out of nowhere. And if you know my dad, you know that he's had skin cancer on his head as well as a few other spots. So in order to prevent it, I'm very proactive and very insistent on sunscreen with my children as well as myself. And I'm always, trying to remind everyone that prevention is definitely a necessity. Second reminder why sunscreen is important. It minimizes the aging effects because the radiation from the sun ages you. And over time, you will age a lot faster than someone who wears sunscreen. And it will help you, I will admit, save money on the anti-aging as well as tons of makeup to hide the things and the sun damage that you don't want everyone to see. Third thing, you still need to wear sunscreen, even though you might have a darker skin tone, because, if you look at me, I'm like super white. Obviously, I need sunscreen. But if you happen to have a darker skin tone or the ability to tan, that doesn't mean that you need to skip the sunscreen. You still need to wear sunscreen. You just happen to have a better tolerance for the sun, but that doesn't mean that you can't get burned, as well as acquire sun damage or even skin cancer itself. So being proactive is important. Here are a few guidelines just that I pulled off the Skin Cancer Foundation website. I absolutely love that website, and I will place it in the comments in the thread when I'm finished. And that way you can check out all of the recommendations from them. They have recommendations on everything from sunscreens, which all of the RF sunscreens are on there, time in the sun, what to look for. Very helpful website, very informational. So the Skin Cancer Foundation recommends that you have something that says, I don't think you can read it here, but not at all actually, lights. There we go. Yep, SPF 30. It also recommends something that is a broad band spectrum, which is the UVA and UVB. So look carefully for that on your sunscreen. And you need to reapply your sunscreen every 2 hours, not every 8. Sunscreen only lasts about 2 hours. Okay, and if you are hanging out in the water about every 80 minutes, sunscreen needs to be reapplied because most sunscreens will say water resistant, but only up to 80 minutes to 2 hours. So you're gonna need to reapply. Most sunscreens, I don't know if you're aware, there's an expiration date, at the top, sometimes on the bottom, sometimes on the back, but there's always an expiration date, and you want to check that expiration date very carefully. Like I said, I don't think you can see it because of the reflection of my lights here, but it's only valid for 2 years. And from what I learned on the Skin Cancer Foundation website, that the sunscreen formula is only stable for about 2 years. After that, it breaks down and you get zero protection. And I mean zero. And I found that out when I was using an expired sunscreen. It had been expired for over a year on my face. And I noticed that on certain parts of my face, I was getting large, dark brown patches on my skin. And I really didn't appreciate that. But I realized quickly that it was sun damage. And I've taken some steps to reverse that, which has been helpful. Oh, hey, hello, thanks for joining in. Hey, Christy. It's finally showing me who's popping in, so I'm glad you could make it. I'm talking about sunscreen, the importance of it, as well as some tips and tricks to help you out. So I hope you're feeling better, lady. As I was saying, only a 2-year shelf life on your sunscreen, so make sure you check the expiration dates carefully. And if it is expired, you get zero protection. You'll notice quickly that dark spots and other sunburns happen to pop up pretty quickly. So if you don't enjoy that, slather it on. And if you happen to need recommendations on sunscreen, all types, again, I'll put the link to the Skin Cancer Foundation's website on there, as well as some of the RNF sunscreens that you can use. There's even ones for people with really sensitive skin, like my little munchkin Nicholas. Okay, now for the sunscreen tips and tricks. Number 1, wear a hat or a visor. I didn't bring one with me. I hate hats, but there are times I will wear a visor. But wear a hat and visor, or even sunglasses, and sometimes the larger the better. Next would be apply your sunscreen, liberally 10 to 15 minutes before you go outside. Allow it to dry. And what I use, normally I use a sunscreen that is a combination of moisturizer and sunscreen, and it seems to work pretty well. Sometimes it's a sensitive one, sometimes it's an oil control one, depending on the kind of day that I'm having. My skin tends to be kind of oily, so there are many days that I'm using the one created for oily skin. Okay, next tip with sunscreen. Reapply it every 2 hours, and yeah, every 2 hours is necessary. I know it feels kind of painful and time consuming, I agree with you there, but hopefully I can share with you a couple tips to make it quick and easy, because we're always chasing the kids around trying to get them taken care of, and it's harder to take care of ourselves. So I'm hoping some of these tips about applying your sunscreen in a quick fashion will help you out. Okay, so first you could just simply take a wipe and wipe your face off completely, and then reapply your sunscreen. That's one way to do it. And then if you have makeup on, you're reapplying your makeup as well. And that kind of tends to be time consuming. Next would be just simply taking your sunscreen and applying more over top. I don't know about you, but after a while, you've applied like 3 or 4 layers, that tends to feel kind of thick and gross and heavy. And I don't usually care for that feeling on my skin. Another thing you can do is you can just simply keep reapplying it over the sunscreen and the makeup and the foundation that you already have, which kind of gets kind of gross and feels like spackle after a while. Another option would be to simply apply, for example, if you have a light powder mineral makeup that comes with an SPF, it's really small. Usually these little containers are small, and you pop them in your pocket. And if you have a brush, you can just simply dust on your mineral peptides if you have like an SPF of 30. And that's a quick way to pop some sunscreen on your face really fast without having to keep reapplying layers and layers of sunscreen, as well as remove your makeup, sunscreen, then redo your makeup, because I don't have time to do that usually, most of the time. But the thing I like about the peptide mineral makeup, and it's the only kind of makeup that I actually really use because I don't use foundation, but it feels very light on, it has SPF of 30, which I absolutely love. Oh, sorry, SPF 20. And I love seeing SPF on anything. It feels like air on. It's very light defying. I don't know if you can see from the light in here, but it tends to give you a little bit of a glow. Apparently, I'm glowing. And for me, my skin is sensitive to a lot of kinds of makeup, so I usually try to remember to avoid ones that cause sensitivities. And for me, also, again, non-comedogenic, non-pore clogging. I like something that's sweat-proof because I do tend to sweat a little bit sometimes in the summer, as well as pretty much waterproof. So for me, like I said, this is something that I like to use as just our mineral peptides. It applies easily with a brush on those really hot days. Super easy. And I will have the opportunity for any of my group members, doesn't matter whether you're a customer or not, to win a whole little things like this, one of the little mineral peptide powders. And I will be giving some away in some of our Mother's Day specials for new customers. So if you know someone who would love to try out, as well as get an extra freebie, I'm sure I would be happy to help them out. I'm also going to be giving them away in the group so that someone else will have the opportunity to try it. So hopefully you like it. Fourth tip, make sure you cover any missed areas. For a lot of people, your hands are some of the biggest areas that most people do not cover. Your ears, especially on the back side of them, all the way as well as the top of the lobe, the side of the neck along here. Your lips also require something with SPF, believe it or not, because they can get burned, as well as your scalp. I don't know about you, but there have been several times that I've been burned on my scalp, and it's pretty painful on the top of your hair. So those are some of the areas that most people miss that and toes. I forgot about toes. So your toes, your lips, your ears, your neck, your hands, and your scalp are all places that get burned pretty easily, and many places of those seem to be less resistant to sun, more delicate tissues. So they're more prominent places to develop skin cancer. So again, please make sure to cover them up. So as always with the Saturday Skinny, I hope that you found these tips helpful. If you happen to need any suggestions or recommendations, please feel free to reach out anytime or pop a comment in the thread or PM me. You know, I'm always happy to pass along any recommendations for sunscreens as well as any other products if that's something that you are looking for. So as always, like I said, reach out, feel free, and also check your email. If you are one of my customers, then you will be receiving our newsletter that describes all of upcoming tips and tricks, as well as some new things that you need to know as a customer. Some definitely important info in the newsletter, so check it out, as well as more videos and posts will be coming this week and the rest of this month regarding skin cancer awareness and some things you should look for, things you might want to have checked out by your doctor. So hopefully you found these tips helpful. And if you did, like I said, please do me a favor. Hey, thanks for the love. I appreciate it, lady. Slather on that sunscreen because I hear you got some nice weather coming. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. So have a good night, and I will catch you later. We'll talk soon.